Good evening, good evening. Thanks for dropping by here at the docking station, and again we're gonna talk about stories from the trail, and this summer has been a great riding summer again. The rallies are all over and we're just sitting back and taking a break, and the next run will be in October. So the princess is all ready to do the cold trip south to Florida and then back up to West Virginia and a stopover at Charleston. There's a nice little hotel there called Parsley Inn, and there's two great girls there. They give you the house of hospitality. It's almost like Pettigo Junction, you know, like that show that they had on TV, Pettigo Junction, you know, and they'd get off the train and they all, you know, found a place to stay in the hotel, in the inn, and everybody got breakfast, and then they all took off, and the other guy was, you know, that's the kind of environment that is, really, and it's a great stopover for me. I park my bike and then I get to relax a little bit. There's a nice big room. I got a beautiful room there, and the price is just fantastic, you know. Very good people, very good people. There's the local lady there. She makes apple pie, and she comes over. She's from a minister or somewhere up the road. I don't remember her name, but I have a picture of her too on my Facebook and that, and she's a darling. She just stands over the place on Sundays there, and you know, it's just real nice people. It's just a great place to stop, and the people in Charleston, they're so friendly. They all like to ride Harleys, and they're really nice people, you know. And I like to stop over at the Harley dealer there, and I just pop in and say hi, and you know, just get reacquainted, and you know, just I'm on my way back home, you know, from Daytona, you know. So, but there's always that snow, you know, so you have to watch that snow in the mountains in West Virginia and stuff. You gotta watch, you know, snowstorms and stuff like that. So but anyway, I this time here I wrote down a thing that was, okay. So basically, when I ride, I just ride one direction at a time. I just there's so much more to riding. It's like there's riding for everybody. There's some people that explain me they're hard butt riders. They ride for 1,000 miles and as fast as they could go, and they get there fast and they make points, and that's how they travel, you know. And other people, they travel in group and they go and visit and so on and so forth. And there's a few of us that we just travel. We just travel for the sake of traveling. We go, we say, okay, well, I know a guy in British Columbia. I tell him, listen, where are you going? Well, I said, I think I'm going to go south. He said, okay, well, how far south are you going to go? He said, well, I'm going to go as far as Colorado. So, okay, so that's in British Columbia. So you figure, okay, so all right. So why don't I meet you? Like, I can intercept you somewheres up, maybe Sturgis, you know, and then from there we could start setting south. You know, you could head out to Sturgis, and we could meet in Sturgis, and from Sturgis we could head south from Sturgis, because that's where we could actually meet, and it's probably halfway for you and halfway for me. It's roughly almost the same. It's a little further for you, but you know. So that's how we ride, you know. That's how my old friend Bruce, you know. That's how we ride, you know. And or you know, sometimes we just, you know, we meet them where we meet them. Sometimes we go to a little swap meet. We see there's a swap meet going. We check the entry price, and as long as it's not too much money. Sometimes, you know, they'll let us in without paying, you know, because we're old guys, and you know, we just want to shoot the shit, stuff like that. right? So we get in free in a lot of those rallies, but so we get to shoot the shit with some other riders and stuff. So that's what basically what the kind of riding I do, and what I do is I just stay with my motorcycle, and I love riding in the rain. I think riding in the rain is out. You know, you dress up really warm, so you're nice and dry, and you drive, but you just have to drive more careful. You know, you gotta sort of like really watch the glare, and you know, you sort of like, you know, but it's a really nice ride. You know, it's quiet, and you know, it's just, you know, it's soft, you know, and it's, you know, it's not noisy, like it doesn't crack or quick, and then, you know, the animals come out very close to the road, and they're not jumpy, you know, they're not jumpy, and I don't have a loud exhaust pipe. My exhaust pipe is very, very, very quiet, you know, boom, 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 and I have my little horn, just like a bird whistle, like it's almost like a little siren, you know, whoop, and then the deer just looks at you, you know, and they're just looking at you. And sometimes you go real close to them, and they're in the rain, and they're right in the eyes of the spotlight there, and you know, they just look at you like, you know. So it's kind of nice to ride in the rain and the incognito. You know, you take your lights off. I ride without my lights, and what I do is I just have a cap light, and I could dim it. It's a very strong light, but there's also a dimmer on it, so I bring it right down to the dimness I want, and as long as I could see, and there's a reflection on their eyes, and you know, it's real nice riding. You know, the bike is dark, and there's no running lights, no tail lights, so you're just riding in the dark with your light, you know, and it's really nice. You know, you could drive in the back roads, and oh, that's wonderful night riding, and you know, and then when you get tired, you just, you know, you put the tarp over the engine, you know, over top of you, like a little tarp, and you know, you know, you try to get yourself a little bit of a lean there. You know, you get yourself your tarpaulin out, and you know, sometimes you might get a, you know, branch or something. You just put a branch across, and just a little bit of a lean, you know. And then you put your motorcycle cover on top, and you lay back there, and you know, you're warm. You know, you're warm, and you know, you just listen to the stillness of the darkness and the crickets, and you know, like on the side of the road. It's like, you know, you could be there and nobody sees you. There's no lights, nothing. You know, you try to make sure that you're off the road enough so that if there is a wahoo driver that's flying down that road at night, you know, that you're protected behind some kind of a big rock or something like that. So you always try to defend your ride, you know. So when I park, I always try to park in a direction or a sort of way that if there's a car that will come and have to ricochet the rock, or you know, you sort of want to set yourself where you're protected, you know, and that's where you're gonna snuck in for the night. You know, you could take your bike and you could snuck it in, you know, in a good location. Make sure you could get out, and if it's raining or stuff like that, make sure you got a good solid footing, because you don't want to be parked in the mud and, you know, wake up in the morning and you're down to your axle. Wow, that's a freaking heavy freaking load. You know, like you're stuck with the bike. Oh, there's no winch or nothing like that. So you know, you gotta think about the bike as it's not really an off-road vehicle. Too freaking heavy for that. But if you act smart, you know, you could find a rocky spot and puncture solid. I've been right up in the bush. I've taken way up there, you know. But you just gotta be careful, because it's very low clearance at the bottom. You could hit the engine, especially with rolling rocks and stuff like that. So maybe I want to consider a skid plate. Maybe that's what I should be thinking about next. So anyway, that was the little episode about riding off roads and doing some little scenes that I did already last summer. And you know, this is you know, I think if you stay with your ride, I mean, it's a lot more fun riding. You know, like I seen people, you know, you go and they're at the motel, and the bike is leaning almost, and it's raining, and you know, and I mean, that's what they're gonna be riding all the next day and stuff like. I mean, it's to me, it's like the bike has to stay warm and it's gotta stay active. You know, it can't cool off. Like it's like an airplane. Once it cools off, then you have to stop flying for a while. But fly while the airplane is warm and as well, it's running good. Like just keep flying. When you stop, start over again because the engine, it has like a certain temperature rating that it's really runs to run at. And then when you cool it off and start all over again, it's running temperature again, and it's like, I don't know. It's just part of riding and being with the motorcycle and really understanding the engine and just keep riding, and you ride nights, you ride day. If you're tired, just sleep a while and keep your ride warm, and don't sleep too long because the ride get cold and the engine get too cold. Just kind of cool off a bit, but try to get her going before she cools off too much. Just keep going, and you'll see you're gonna have a pleasant ride. Every time an engine cools off, it dries off, the oil sets to the pan. Take like 8-9 hours of cooling off, and the engine is you have to start over again. The oil is broken down, and it's like it cooled off and then regelled itself, and it's like changes all the. You're not gonna change oil every time it cools off, but as soon as an oil cools off, that's when the oil sort of settles, and basically, that's when you'll have more frequent oil changes when you have more long-term stoppage. So keep the oil warm. It's good. Keep the oil warm. Anyway, keep the oil warm, they say. Let's call this keep the oil warm.